All right, you guys, this is Concentrations and Dilutions lecture video 2. And I do believe that the previous video cut me off right when I was going into detail about the Tylenol elixir. But the second formula that you guys need to be familiar with is there's going to be times where you're going to be asked to find how much of active ingredient is within a particular medication. All right. Well, what does that mean? Well, there's a couple of components that you need to understand. And let's look at this Tylenol elixir. This Tylenol elixir states that it is 500 milliliters to 1,000 milliliters. All right, which means that in detail, the 500 milliliters is the active, okay, and the 1,000 milliliters is the total. All right, a total, or let's say an active ingredient. When we say active, we're talking about the ingredients within the medication. The active ingredient is what is added to a base to medicate a medication. So an example I use for that is, let's say you have a water bottle and you have Crystal Light powder. All right. If you add that Crystal Light powder to your water bottle, you now have given that water a flavor, which means that your Crystal Light powder is your active ingredient and your water is your base. All right. So what you guys need to remember is when we talk about the total, your total consists of two components. All right. And those two components is your active and your base. All right. A total consists of active and base. A total has two components. It has an active ingredient and it has a base ingredient. All right. Your base could be water. It could be normal saline. It could be a cream base. All right. An example of a cream base is Aquaphor. All right. Or Vaseline. Neither of those are medicated until the manufacturer adds some form of active ingredient. They can add Tylenol to Vaseline to make a Tylenol cream or a Tylenol ointment. You can add amoxicillin to a cream base to make an amoxicillin ointment. All right. Would they make an amoxicillin ointment? I seriously doubt it, since it's more of a systematic type of medication, but it's not as if it's not doable, is what the point that I'm making. All right. All right. So when you guys are looking for the active ingredient, you have to use the following formula where you take X over total equals the percentage, which in detail will be the number of your percent over 100. All right. And I give an example of 3 problems that you'll do for each. The next formula that I want you guys to know is that now that we have identified what active and total is, there's going to be times where you're going to be looking for your total. And the formula that you would use will be your active. So whatever it is that you're looking for will be your X. So instead of your X being in the active placement, it'll be in what? The total, which equals the percent. And in detail, that will be that number, whatever that percentage is, over 100. So if it was 3%, it will be 3 over 100. If it was 5%, it'll be 5 over 100. That is how you would solve that problem. All right. So again, I want to make sure that you guys understand your components. So let's go back up And let's go ahead and let's look at some of these, what we've discussed so far. So far, you guys know that concentrations can be expressed in three ways. It can be expressed as a percentage, a ratio, or a fraction. All right. You guys also know that there are three types of concentrations. All right. You have weight to weight. In details, that's grams per grams. You have weight to volume. In detail, that's grams per milliliter. And you also have volume to volume, which is milliliter per milliliter. All right. Those are the units that each type of concentration is initially expressed as. So when you solve the problem, you're solving the problem depending if it's weight to weight, and you're looking for your active, where your active is what? Grams, and your total, of course, is grams. So when you're solving the problem, whatever it is that you're looking for, your units will be in grams. If you're solving a weight to volume problem, and they're asking you to find the total, your total is what? Your milliliters. All right? Because it's grams per milliliters. Your top number is your active. Your bottom number is your total. So if it's a weight to volume, your top number is in grams. Your bottom number will be milliliters, which means that your top number is your active and your bottom is your what? Your total. All right. So let's go ahead and look at some problems very quickly. And let's just go into detail how you're going to look at these medications and determine what type of concentration it is, because I think that is the most important part when solving these problems. All right. So I want you guys to look at practice problems E on page 442. Practice problems E on page 442. It says, using the following examples, interpret the meaning of the medication shown or the label for the drug strength. On the second line, indicate the weight of active per 100 milliliters. All right. So let's look at number one. Number one is epinephrine. All right. Pinephrine solution. And it is a 1 to 10,000. So let's go ahead and identify some things that you guys have learned thus far. You automatically know the medication itself is what? Epinephrine solution. That is the name of the medication. All right. The concentration of the medication is what? 1 to 10. This is the concentration. All right. Now, just looking at this concentration, let me write this a little better so you guys can follow. Okay. So again, this 1 to 10 is known as the concentration of this medication, correct? All right. In detail, it is expressed as a what? It is expressed as a ratio. All right. It is expressed as a ratio. So now you guys need to determine, well, what type of concentration is it? Well, it says epinephrine solution 1 to 10,000. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you guys now that based off of the instructions, it says on the second line to indicate the weight of active ingredient per 100 milliliters. Then that means that the type of concentration is what? Weight to volume. Because they want you to tell them how, indicate the weight. When it says weight, it needs to be in what? Grams per 100 milliliters. A milliliters is volume. So the type of concentration is weight to volume. So how would you rewrite this as the instructions is asking? It's asking for you to rewrite it as what? Weight to 100 milliliters. Well, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it as the ratio it is. All right. You guys know that it is a weight to volume concentration. And in detail, the weight is 1 gram and the volume is what? And I'm going to keep it in its ratio form, which is what? 10,000 milliliters. But the instructions want us to write it in weight to 100 milliliters. So they want us to rewrite it in a fraction. So in order to change this to 100 milliliters, all right, you guys have got to just divide it out, where you take 1 gram to 10,000 milliliters, and it will read 0.01 gram to 100 milliliters. All right. Let's try another one. The key to these problems is that you're going to have to keep reviewing the videos. The key to really solving all of these problems, regardless of what chapter we're in, is that you're going to have to keep reviewing the videos and keep practicing the problems until you get a hang of it. All right. So let's look at number 2. Number 2 says we have 7.5% magnesium sulfate solution. Okay, so let's go ahead and identify some things right now. All right, the name of the medication. We know the name of the medication is magnesium sulfate solution. All right. The concentration of the medication, we know for it to be 7.5%. The concentration of this medication is 7.5%. So in detail, this concentration is expressed as a what? It's expressed as a percentage. All right? In detail, the concentration, or the type of concentration, is weight to volume. All right. So I'm going to because I know it's weight to volume, I'm going to rewrite this percentage concentration as a weight to volume fraction. And it will be rewritten as 7.5 grams to what? 100 milliliters. Where does the 7.5 come from? Because it's 7.5%. Where does the 100 come from? The 100 stands for the percent, because the percent sign is 100. Where does the grams come from? The grams, the 7.5 grams, is indicating the type of concentration. It's weight to volume. So that 7.5 has a unit of grams because it's weight. The 100 milliliters, all right, the milliliters comes from what? The volume, because it's a weight to volume type of concentration. That percent sign is 100. And the volume, or the unit for that 100, is milliliters. Why? Because 100%, our percent is 100. So that volume should be in milliliters, 100 milliliters.